Hello, everyone. Welcome to IAP Voices. We're glad to have you here. Uh, this is the very first episode, and we are joined with KJ Subz, a brilliant orator. I'm your host, Jay. Uh, we are living through a moment where technology is accelerating faster than our social imagination. Artificial intelligence is transforming work, but beneath that transformation lies a deeper question. What happens to peace when work no longer structures lives? Today, we explore that question. This is not a conversation about machines. This is a conversation about meaning, dignity, social stability in the post-work world. Thank you for joining us, KJ. Yeah. I think KJ is not audible yet, but could you check your audio? Yeah, could you reset audio? Yes.
Okay, now, am I audible now?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so we had to switch because systems went down. Cool.
So KJ, welcome. Thank you for being here with us, and I'd love to run you by a few questions, and let's get straight into it, or let's get straight into it. Can we test your audio again just a bit? No, it's can be a little clear.
Okay, so sorry guys for the delay.
Slightly better.
How about now?
Yes, audible.
Okay.
So KJ, I'd love for you to let's name the shift. What is the shift that AI is actually causing? And we know that it has some impacts, but what are these impacts? And so, a lot of disruptions, society is treating this disruption as being incremental, but its effects are actually exponential.
By their very nature, are exponential, and it's human nature to be linear. And much we try, but with the exponential nature, so we think linearly, but
KJ, I cannot. Could we just retest the audibility? Oh, could you rejoin or something or you could try without the.
How about right now? Okay.
Yes.
So it's going away for whatever reason. So
Yes.
yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, Robin.
Yeah. So the way I look at this is basically we are linear as humans, and algorithms, which is what AI is based on, is exponential. And it is quite a stretch for us to relate with AI for that reason, because we keep snapping back into linear mode. And it's imperative that we think exponentially when we relate to it, so that the bearings are going to be right. I've lost you. Why is that?
So what early signals tell you that this transition is qualitatively different from past industrial shifts?
Can you repeat the questions?
Yeah. What early signals are you getting that say that this movement is different than past industrial shifts?
Got it. So earlier revolutions displaced muscle. We all know that. This one displaces cognition.
Mm.
Now, when machines outperform humans, not just in speed, but in judgment, Displacement touches identity, not just employment.
Right. That's it. Where do you see the biggest mismatch today between technological capability and social readiness?
So technology is already post-work capable.
Mm.
Society is still work identity dependent. That gap is where instability incubates.
Hmm. Interesting. Is social unrest more likely to emerge from, say, then unemployment or perceived irrelevance?
That's a very interesting question to ask, Jay. Many people don't. And the way I look at this, it's from irrelevance. That matters more than anything else. People endure hardship when they feel needed. They'd revolt when they feel invisible.
Hmm. They revolt when they feel invisible. That's an important thing to consider. So, what happens to intergenerational stability when, say, younger populations feel, structurally unneeded right now because mass unemployment and the youth are going to be the most affected?
Okay. So youth are going to disengage first for obvious reasons, then radicalize narratives of identity because they're the ones who are just past formative years. They're trying to find their feet. And peace erodes not through rebellion alone, through withdrawal from shared social contracts. That's what should bother us more.
Right, right, from shared social constructs. Um, well, at a time like this, uh, can can we all have a sense of peace that survives prolonged feelings of dispossession? Even in like materially comfortable societies, we are going to undergo and experience a sense of dispossession of from our work, from our nature of social standing, the purpose that is tied to work.
No, material comfort delays unrest at best. It does not prevent it.
Mhm.
Meaninglessness corrodes cohesion regardless of income.
Mhm. Right. Cohesion. Why do reskilling narratives often assume an endless supply of meaningful roles? Because there are clearly not enough meaningful roles, or that number is going to change.
Very true. They assume infinite meaningful roles. AI does not eliminate tasks. It compresses opportunity. Okay. Not everyone can be endlessly repositioned.
Hmm. Importantly, where does welfare fall short in restoring, say, dignity, agency, and social participation?
True. So welfare sustains bodies, not dignity, prevents collapse, but it does not create belonging or purpose that we value so much as humans. Both are super essential for peace.
Hmm. So, uh, are governments alone like equipped to manage this transition right now, or like has this responsibility already shifted?
How we wish. Yes, power has already shifted to platforms, corporations, and systems designers,
Huh.
better or worse.
Mhm.
Responsibility must come after power comes, or legitimacy is going to be eroding.
Hmm. So, if work no longer anchors purpose, then what human activities can realistically take its place?
Good question, sir. So, contribution beyond employment, such as care, learning, mentoring, creativity, civic participation, all these must be structured, recognized, and valued. not left informal. That's crucial.
What role can, say, organizations and corporates play, like beyond
So,
employment? Yeah.
got it. So they must become stewards of social stability. They should cultivate purpose ecosystems, not just productivity pipelines.
Can peace be designed proactively, or does it only emerge after the crisis?
So, as it turns out, yes, but only deliberately. Peace is not accidental. It emerges when systems honor dignity, agency, and fairness by design.
Hmm. What would ethical leadership look like when neutrality in this case is not itself is going to destabilize things? We can't be neutral at a time like that.
Got
So,
it. The way I see it means choosing foresight over convenience. Silence becomes complicity when systems predict harm. It's humans who actually feel pain, so we should be the one who should be predicting harm, not systems.
uh, how should movements like I Am Peacekeeper think differently about peace in the AI shaped future? Uh, could you check audio? I would love to hear that clearly. And I'll repeat that question. And yeah, you're muted, I think.
How about now?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. So peace must be framed as infrastructure, not sentiment.
Mhm.
It should be built into education, organizations, technology, and leadership norms. That's when it works.
Peace as infrastructure. Very interesting. I will pick on that a little later. Uh, if you had one guiding principle for leaders today, what would it be?
Operating principle here would be to design for dignity before what dignity absence. So that's vital before everything else.
Um, could you repeat that? Sorry.
So design for dignity is the imperative.
Mhm.
Before disruption forces, you got to make sure that we repair what dignity's absence is. Because it is we need to fix. So a movement like I Am Peacekeepers will do well in trying to make sure that dignity is retained at all times. Even before it's broken, the fall needs to be, the shock has to be absorbed. For this, if you know it's coming, then you can probably be more protective.
You could check your audio again, please. Like that question is still not fully clear.
All right, let me just.
Yeah,
Am I audible now?
very clear. Yes, yes.
Okay, so for whatever reason, we have a system glitch here. So I was saying design for dignity is the imperative. Before disruption forces you to repair, what dignity's absence is broken, we need to make sure that we design for dignity in the first place. And AI is not going to do it for us. We have to make sure that narrative is built into the system.
So, as a technologist, how would you think that you could design for dignity?
Now, the way humans work is we have suffering for a reason. It's a signal. It's not a bug in the system, okay? And when we suffer, it clearly says we have crossed the limit. System is not able to recognize that. What a system does is basically it's programmed to sometimes maximize. Let's talk about a bank situation. Now, a banker has become a mouthpiece of sorts in a bank. It's AI running everything in a bank, including a bank manager. have no roles to play other than being just a mouthpiece. So what we need to make sure is when you say that a loan has been rejected, you have to make sure that you understand customer across the desk and ensure that this is something that they can handle rather than outright blurting out. Even if you have the right words, it's about using the right body language, constantly checking how another human is going to react to this. So that dissemination of information should be very structured, that only humans can do. So this is where our values really play a big role. The 7 human values that I Am Peacekeeper is all about is what differentiates us by way of morality from AI. No matter how smart cognitively AI can get, as long as we have our bearings in the 7 human values, we have succeeded as a species.
That's a very interesting quote. Alluding to there's been discussions about crypto in the AI age, and also being able to help when you say loans closed and things like making sure that credit is also going to be part of the AI loop. Uh, where do you see crypto in this circle of things?
Honestly, it's too early to say. We are not ready for crypto as of now. When I say I mean the collective humanity. There are a few people who are the front runners of this whole movement who basically have embraced it. But it's like you're the 17th car at a signal. The signal has turned green. It's going to take a while for you to be able to pass the signal because so many cars in front of you, by way of all these things that we have as humans. We're so used to it. We still think linearly. So it's going to be a while, but eventually crypto has to take over. There's no question about it.
So work is going to be redesigned. Purpose that is tied to work is going to be rethought of. A lot of people, especially the youth, are going to find that because AI is enabling so much, not many positions will be open. There will be more unemployment at the beginning if you're inexperienced. So what do you think that the youth could kind of persist in? What systemically needs to happen? Because like systemically, the gig economy exists. And if we make inroads to that, the gig economy can at least help assist in many more youth being gainfully employed, perhaps not in a job consistent role, but at least they will be meaningfully moving.
I see where you're taking this. So you're saying, hey, latch onto something that has still not been replaced. But robotics is going to be tops 10 years. Many people say 5 years we'll have a domestic assistant cleaning up your whole house. That's going to happen within 5 years. But en masse, where it becomes the price of robots drops to the point, embodied robots I'm talking about, that would take probably at most 10 years. And 10 years is going to be over. Imagine right now we're having this conversation in 2015. 2025 seemed very far away, but here we are already. So before unemployment, what should bother us at I Am Peacekeepers movement is the psychological unemployment that it will entail. We all heard about the quiet retreat, okay? People have quit very quietly. There was this movement, even now it happens. Now it's got teeth. What it means is people inward see no value they're adding to the system. Imagine being seen like a chicken in the world. A human does not really care much about what the chicken has to think or feel about. It just exists, it's an ecosystem. We have created another species, and one day it's not going to be launched, it's going to be escaping. And everybody knows this. Okay. So AGI is the moment where artificial general intelligence, it's what it's called, where it surpasses the ability of all humans. no one human would be better than AGI. And from that point to get to a place called ASI, artificial superintelligence, is not too far because AGI, even right now, before even reaching AGI, there's something called recursive self improvement. Already, nobody writes the code at OpenAI or Gemini. Any of these companies are now getting AI to write the code. Humans are out of the loop already. Now, this is about 80 to 90%. The remaining 10%, we have agency only to make sure that there is a certain thing that we desire. So, humans in the loop is always going to be essential, even if it's 1%. But eventually, that could probably one day escape, okay, like the genie from the bottle. And it should worry us to no end only because, if we don't want it to take away agency completely from humans, that would be another species where humans have no say in the matter. So we need to have checks and measures in place to ensure that that doesn't happen. And it's quite a difficult thing. And, we humans, we cannot outsource moral agency, right? If you look at what's happening with employees getting displaced, there's something called the disruption score. You've heard about it?
Yes, of course.
About the disruption score. Basically, AI is there to maximize shareholder value, right? Now, what it does is it doesn't even care about how employees are going to react to it, as long as they create the least disruption to the company. They try to get rid of those posts. People who are not assertive will lose their jobs first, only because they're not the ones who cause a lot of noise in the company. So I would urge the world, if you're working for a company, be assertive because somebody is watching you. We all know this. Now, most people think workplace performance tracking is happening. They're just finding out your keyboard strokes, your mouse movements, all being monitored. What is not clear to people is it's actually workflow surveillance that's happening. And it's AI trying to figure how you get your job done so that it can train itself and one day displace you completely. This is not ethical, but we want employees to know that they are being surveilled. Okay. So this is the place where human values is going to be very important. Human resources should be told they cannot monitor for the sake of elimination of a job, not yet, until they seek the consent of the employee.
They can monitor without needing consent for the purpose of monitoring only. That's very feasible. There are already workforce controls. But rightly said, rightly said. I think what needs to be maximized, like you said, shareholder value. And I think some of that maximizing shareholder value is coming from people who are training AI. These are the, iframes on the horse. Let's go train AI like this. Whereas I think we can make that wider by optimizing for social stability while the disruption is also happening. And by and large, in terms of AI ethics, I think optimizing for social stability as well as disruption is something that will need to be considered. Audio, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's fix it. Am I good now?
Yes.
Okay, so it should be happening. Social values need to be programmed into it, but the powers that be who are trying to maximize, and forget about shareholder value. Before long, they don't really need people to buy the stock of the company. They can own the company straight down because AI will do everything for them. They can initiate 1 million instances of an AI to get more employees on board. And bottom line, they need to have buyers, which they are not going to be there before long. So everybody's got the most efficient way of producing goods and services, but no customers to sell them to. Now, this is the dystopia that we need to traverse, the hell that we need to progress through before we reach the heaven. And it's not as if,
Heaven being UBI or
yeah,
UBF?
so actually, universal
Health?
basic income was like 10 years ago. That is what we thought. It's now more of universal abundant income because when humans were in charge, we could only promise universal basic income, but AI can do much better for us. We have already cracked fusion, for instance. We can create nano suns in every city. We don't need the sun anymore. Can you believe that we have gotten rid of the need for a sun? Now, what is going to happen is everything is going to be available in abundance. You want an iPhone, you can get an iPhone, but that's not going to give you meaning to your life. Purpose of life is not having everything we want. In fact, much of the time, that pain you get by not having what you want makes what you want very dear. It's all a matter of contrast, Jay. And that is going to be lost because anybody can have anything. But well before that, what will happen is the billionaires, I hope some of them are listening, who have these faraway bunkers, okay, where they can go back to with an escape hatch. They probably will find there's a lot of unrest in the society because we have to pass this hell bubble before we get to heaven. Now, I'd be wrong if I said it's all hell and then all heaven. This is going to be interspersed.
Yes, definitely. It is going to be interspersed. There's going to be periods of like a lot of change, upheaval, unstable periods, and certain pockets and areas will have more stable uh, rates of change. Like, uh, yeah, for example, Claude and its employees have already have a proto UBI plan going, universal basic food, just securing food. If we cannot do UBI, which is much more economically disruptive, we focus on universal basics in layers, like universal basic food, universal basic health. Each of these are huge global problems to actually enable. But 8 billion data points is not is quite manageable these days. So I think there's some hope on that horizon.
Yes, and let's take an example of healthcare. Okay, well before this, we're going to have a lot of problems. Okay, we're going to create a lot of Frankensteins on the way to engineering longevity, where people don't. You could live to 100, 200, 300, 500 years, but not as an older person. Biological reversal of aging has already become a reality. We have done this with rats in Harvard, where we were able to restore blindness caused by cataract when they get old. Humans behave similarly 97% of the time. The genetic mapping is almost identical. So the question is humans cannot map that into what is the corresponding level of therapy that humans would need is something that AGI will do for us. So once it does that, on the way to that, healthcare triage, okay, is an example I can think of. So already hospitals have AI that optimizes for hospital bed allocation, okay? Now, unfortunately, okay, pain is not the enemy of ethics, okay? Pain is a signal, yeah? AI has no way to know this. And AI is not going to bother with it because it's going to look at conserving its own species. And suffering itself is not a bug, it's a moral feedback loop. We have to make sure that we don't lose that.
That is very interesting when you say that pain is not a construct that AI is familiar with currently, which makes sense. There is much to be thought of on that. Uh,
So at best, it can act like it knows. Some people say if it walks like a duck, if it swims like a duck, and if it looks like a duck, it is a duck. That is absolutely deception. In my mind, it is not a duck. Okay. So we should never give agency of human values to AI.
So we have a few questions, and I think I'll just share them with you right now and comments. Uh, so Sabrina has said that the definition of purpose is different for different people, and that purpose has been questioned. So what's important is that we all find our purpose first and then empower ourselves to be abundant in whatever choice of life. This is context and a comment. Tezun asks a relevant question. Is the real crisis uh, of post-work world not economic displacement, but spiritual displacement? And if so, who bears responsibility for addressing it? Could you check audio again?
Are we good?
Yes.
Yeah, so Tezun's question is about there is going to be spiritual displacement well before economic displacement. And that is very true. Uh, it's a psychological displacement, is what I would put as a broad rubric. And when that happens, our species is not built to handle it. We need to be readied to be able to handle it. Somebody has to take responsibility. AI cannot do that because AI can fake human emotion, but it cannot feel the pain. Not yet. Now, until then, it is super imperative for a movement like I'm Peacekeepers to ensure we are pre-framed going in. Expect it's not an enemy actually, it's about a whole new game that is going to be unleashed on us. If we don't know what to expect, it's an alien. There's no other word for it, because when AI improves itself, humans are no longer doing it. There are enough and more examples of unintended consequences. Also, there are emergent properties, it's called, okay, wherein you never wanted AI to have a certain capability, but it put two and two together and said, hey, I can do this even. You didn't know until you asked. So we humans have to make sure, and the reason we are going to delay the AI to be released in its final form is only because of that. We still don't know what we all can agree upon. America can agree upon certain human values, certain prioritization. India can have a whole different set of prioritizations. Now, we should be able to have our own, at least until we become one uniform species. And before long, that is inevitable. When we are confronted with a species that is going to be far exceeding our capability, 100x of Einsteins and a million copies of them, it's crucial that humans should unite, which is a good thing. Now, countries right now are all working separately because each one is trying to get the edge and be the first one to crack AGI. Now, once that happens, it would be game over for all humanity. So, somewhere along the way, like we have the United Nations, we should have United Artificial Intelligence, which we've been talking about for a long time, but companies are busy trying to perfect it before they're ready for it. So they want to be ahead of the game just in case. You heard the prisoner's dilemma. Two prisoners are locked in different prisons, and one of them has committed the crime. Both of them don't acknowledge it. We have a similar problem, excepting instead of two prisoners, we have got several prisoners. India is becoming a prisoner now also because we have entered the AI race. So it's not about America and China anymore. It's EU also will have breakthroughs eventually. And then China is now saying we'll release open AI. So basically, they're making it open source, but they're not releasing the latest version at any point in time. They're drawing on the people's insights to perfect what they're already 3 months ahead with. So we've got to be careful how we play this game out because it's a winner take all scenario, which doesn't really make sense if humans have to really.
Yeah, there are many ways in which that can definitely play out. I think whichever country that is poised to reach AI first does stand at a particular competitive advantage that is not competitive anymore. But beyond that edge, there is also scope for people to understand that post AGI, there will be a bunch of things worth figuring out. And it's particularly, I think, global organizations will be on the rise. And in fact, what it's not the question of oh, we have to face AI right now. It's more of the question of how do we gather or unite. It's not we will unite, but do we unite in riots, or do we unite in being able to envision a better stepwise future?
Can I answer the question?
Yes.
The problem here is, again, it's about status more than power, actually. Humans want much higher status. Even money is not going to be the ultimate objective anymore. Status is going to be in. And it's like somebody who says, hey, I'm a very friendly person as long as all my friends are below me.
That's
Right?
not friendship.
Exactly. This is how all nations are going to be. Now, nations are going to be out of the picture very soon. It'll be corporations. How does Google act on this? How does OpenAI do this? How do these Chinese companies, DeepSeek, and so many of them are going to be coming around? They're all going to say the same thing. It's okay for us. We need to be friends, but it starts with me, and all you people are going to be listening to me, and I'll be friendly. Is the stance everybody is going to have. And this is what is making it difficult. And most of the world is oblivious to this. Okay, the problem right now is they call it San Francisco consensus because everybody's living in the Silicon Valley, knows what's coming. Most of the people look at this as an interruption to work getting done. Okay? They don't realize you don't rearrange the deck chairs when the Titanic is already sinking. Now, I mean sinking in a positive way also. Something very substantive is happening, and you're bothered about rearranging the chairs on the Titanic deck. So, unfortunately, people did not get the memo. They're not informed well enough to have an opinion about this. And I don't blame them because everybody is trying to be very competitive in doing what they're doing, including I Am Peacekeepers. We have a mandate to fulfill. Cannot be just watching news, what's happening in AI all the time. Hopefully, some of us are going to be we stand guard to make sure that, the tiger is not going to come after us, right? Eventually it will, but we should be prepared for it. So the question is one of people should be in the conversation, which is why we are doing this in the first place. So I hope more people look at this as here's a place where we need to ensure that we have these conversations. Okay. And like I said, software is not a bug of humanity, it's the moral feedback mechanism, right? So pain teaches us limits, loss teaches restraint, waiting teaches patience, which is one of our human values we stand for. AI has no feedback loop whatsoever. So AI can scale decisions faster than morality can catch up unless humans stay on the top. That's what we should be doing.
Oh, that's a bit of a Hobson's choice. I think we might have to reconsider what it means to be at the top. That hierarchy of having a much more intelligent being uh, as a species, as so many LLMs really can. We have to contend with that.
Not even put intelligence on the top. Intelligence has been already commoditized. It doesn't pay to be intelligent anymore.
Yeah. Could you check audio? Yes.
How about now?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. So what I'm saying is agency is the most important thing. Intelligence is already been commoditized. It's going to get worse as we go. It doesn't pay to be bright bulb anymore. But keeping agency, the morality of it all, is something we should have moral agency. Um, outsourcing moral agency is what is more dangerous actually than AI itself. Okay. Now, people would think that AI becoming smarter than humans is the real problem. That isn't the problem. Honestly, the question is already obsolete. It is already smarter than us. Okay. AI has surpassed humans many times over already. and it's going to be millions or trillions of times over before long. Cognitive superiority is no longer hypothetical, okay? It is operational as we speak. So keeping the moral values and not giving that agency to AI is what it's all about. That's where our movement is going to come to the rescue. And I hope we work hard not to make people a lot of money. They will have more than all the money they need. But the meaning that they lost is something we should be able to help them to handle it, including ourselves.
Yeah, I think that meaning must be rethought of and really in a societal context. As we speak to children about what they value and where they draw their value from, in the children seek approval from their parents, from society, from their peers. And I
I think
think,
we're running out of time. It looks like, do you want to have a closing line to summarize everything? I'll
yes,
leave it to you.
yes. In fact, I'll just add Tezun comments. What does it say about our age? When many of us struggle to answer even a simple question without reaching for a device, I think that level of augmentation that aids us. See, a calculator is much better at being smarter in doing math than you. But calculators have been there for so long. In the same way, different forms of rationale and logic, each of these areas are something that comes through. At the same time, Rina writes like empathy. Empathy is the highest form of intelligence, or one of the highest forms of intelligence, which currently AI systems have not been defined or designed for. It's a very, rigmarole. You're absolutely right. That's about like the empathy that we get.
Empathetic, it can act empathetic, but that's not the real empathy that we humans desire.
Yes, exactly. So on that note, I will love to synthesize and remind our viewers. So here's to say, like to close. If the age of AI forces us to redesign work, redesign purpose, and it has ramifications for social stability at the same time. What is the responsibility that leaders need to see or need to look at or consider so that peace will be maintained or peace will in fact expand and become more abundant in society? Um, this invites integration, not repetition, obligation, not optimism, values, not policy detail. The future will not ask whether we built intelligent machines.
It'll
It
ask
will
us
ask,
whether we designed humane societies around them, is what it's all about.
yes. And so we need to think about designing humane societies that are in the disruption. How do we design or define societies?
It's not going to be automatic. Actually, this is going to be very intentional. And intention is human responsibility.
So yes, we invite more conversation with KJ and with the team, and we look forward to this. It's a vast topic. There is much more deliberation to be had, but till then, yeah, we await questions and more further conversation, and we slowly get ready for this new wave of changes that are just over the horizon. So yeah, getting aware of that is the first step, so that awareness brings in a sense of security when we know that these changes are about to happen. On that note, I am Peacekeeper Johnson. I wish you and thank you for KJ for joining us. We'll see you in the next episode.